statement about like, when we have a problem, they're out of here, but that's a couple months ago, and they're still here. So, I mean, why would the people here believe that coming to you is gonna make any difference?
So the statement the commissioner made before was that now, you know, they've made this policy now, where this is what we're gonna take, the action we're going to take. Sometimes, again, it is difficult to move people, there is unions involved, there's union rights, there's transfer things, there's seniority, there's other factors that take place. Again, someone is innocent until proven guilty, sometimes, obviously.
But that applies to the residents here as well.
But you know, I think that this all comes back to what I said before. If these people are behaving in the way that they seem to be behaving, based upon what all of these people are saying, where are the supervisors who see what's going on also? It's not up to us to discipline your people. It's up to you people to make sure they're doing the correct job. So, I mean, I'm loath to believe that the supervisory duties are being carried out, because they're not hiding. These things seem to be out in the open.
Well, again, the officers are not gonna behave, if I go up to the officer right now and I approach him, he's gonna be on his best behavior in front of me. And I assume that's gonna be the same
Yeah,
case.
but you gotta sneak up behind them.
Well, no,
Why don't you go undercover?
I have done that in many locations, and I wear, if you go in my vehicle right now, you'll see an extra set of clothes.
Yeah, go
I'll have a
undercover.
regular baseball cap on, I'll put on the jeans,
Bring it
I have an unmarked vehicle. I have an unmarked vehicle.
Yeah,
So-
undercover and bring a dog.
so-
Yeah.
I have two dogs.
One quick thing to Linda's point there, and this is the last thing that you guys should be aware of, is you had said earlier that they're deployed two here, two to the Esplanade, two here, two there. Well, it's not hard to miss four of them in a clump at a time chit-chatting on the Esplanade, so, and they're right outside your office. I just look out the window.
We address that citywide, sometimes that tends to happen, there's nothing going on, they get together, they wanna speak for a few minutes and stuff like that, we're definitely aware of that, and that's something we discourage. No, I understand. No, it's, it's almost common nature, sometimes, especially during evening hours, I'm not condoning it. Definitely not condoning it, and again, you have my word, you're gonna see me slowing down bicyclists, we're gonna set up a detail in here, which we've done in the park before, we have slow signs, we have an officer that will tell somebody to slow down. If they don't comply, there's another officer up ahead telling them to come to a stop, whatever. And there's another officer that will summons them later on, so look, you didn't slow down when we asked you to, you didn't come to a stop when we asked you to. Now that something is documented, we can have videotape, we videotape these things.
Can I make a very
That's
quick
not the
point
issue at
though?
all, that's like gonna be more harassment to me.
Let's
I'd
not
like
get
to-
involved.
No, I'm saying, but if we have
That's
a
not
dangerous,
helpful.
it's been described tonight, we have a dangerous
On the
condition where
upper
people are
level.
afraid to walk along the Esplanade, that they're getting hit or.
No,
one
we're
particular-
afraid because of the
No,
pets.
but wait, you're allowed to bike on the Esplanade,
Yeah,
because
I'm
you're
allowed
not
to.
allowed to ride on the upper level, so I'm allowed to ride my bike
Okay,
on the lower level without having someone.
I'm sorry, wherever the location is that you're not
Speed
allowed to
trap.
be, and you still can't be, well, you still can't drive recklessly, you can't be at excessive speed where you go down.
Right.
Roberta?
I just think that's not the issue.
John Kaiser was on his bike at 6 o'clock in the morning
Yes.
from, I think, March to November.
Even when it snowed.
Right, well, no, he told me that he was not allowed to bed with him. But wait,
We took them up there.
wait, why is it that there's nobody on the Esplanade early in the morning? Either on a bike or in the car? There's nobody on the I'm on the Esplanade with my dog.
What's up,
No,
six in the
I am
morning,
at
you're not
6
seeing
a.m.
them.
No, they're going for coffee and you never see anybody again.
What time are they supposed to report that?
It's over 24 hours.
We have 24 hours.
No, but the shift starts at what time?
It's 24 hours.
24
You
hours.
should find someone there 24 hours.
There's nobody there.
Paul?
I just want to maybe this is for Gail. It's very obvious in Batting Park City where dogs are not allowed, because the signs are this big, okay? They're this big, no dogs allowed. But at the beginning of the Esplanade, by the volleyball court and every street, where it says no bicycles, the print is this big, it's about like that, so no one can read it, no one. And we have asked for different signage for that, so
We're
people will see.
definitely happy to take a look at getting bigger signs, so that
Yeah,
it's more
no
prominent, so it's
bicycle
more
will
prominent.
know to go on that level or that level, because, you know,
It's a fair point, we'll take a look at that.
yeah, we were always told that they're not gonna change the sign.
Skateboards.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff?
I want to thank you, and I appreciate that some of the requests that we're making are somewhat at cross purposes with one another. We say on the one hand that there's not enough enforcement, we say on the other hand that there's harassment. And it does take training and common sense and just a certain kind of personality to know where to draw that kind of balance. I do hear, and I have heard persistently, the complaint about the bike riding and so forth on the upper level, and I think having good enforcement of that, and by good enforcement, I basically mean somebody out there pointing them down, not necessarily issuing a summons every time, because it's, and I understand from past interactions with pets that summons is really not supposed to be the first resort in seeing an infraction, and in this neighborhood in particular, I think that's appropriate. On the young people, this young woman here was talking about a sense of being harassed even when she's following the rules, and I have a son who's 17, and he tells me the same thing. We don't necessarily always believe him when he says that. But he does say that. He keeps saying to us, you know, Mom, Dad, you're not there when it's because I'm young, they're always harassing me for this, that, or the other thing. And so I think that, and once again, this is somewhat at cross purposes with what we're saying, because we hear that there are some young skateboarders out there who are violating rules, and on the other hand, we have other young people saying that they're being harassed. And the one thing that I'd like to avoid is that even though we want some of this quality of life enforcement, we want to make sure that the officers don't do the easy thing, which is to, okay, well now I'm going to go out and enforce, and so now I'm going to issue a bunch of summonses, and we end up having the worst of both worlds. Is that yes, there may be some enforcement, but it's enforcement of the easy victims as opposed to the people that are causing problems. And you sound like you're aware of these kinds of issues. It must be endemic in the parks, but to the point that both you and many of the speakers have made, we're not a regular park. We're a park that people live in, and I think we perhaps need to take that into account.
I mean, just to jump on that and say what Richard was saying also, I think the main issue is not enforcement so much as it is community relations.
Yes.
And the gentleman's comment, it is not our backyard. We know it's a public park, but you were here earlier to hear all, and they should just take the chance to get to know, like, I guess you can't mandate that, but I would think you'd want to put them through some kind of public relations, like how to interact with. The first time that Richard doesn't do the right thing with his dog, you say something to him, and what's your name? Next time you see him, it's like, hello, Richard. Like, if you know someone's name, they're not going to commit crimes around you. And if you don't know who they are, and you keep that anonymity up, that creates the kind of lack of community that we're feeling. I think the main issue is a community relations issue.
You say that because, again, during the training academy, and I was in charge of the training academy for a number of years, we do something called verbal judo. We do a lot of customer service, which they get every year, and sometimes they say, am I getting customer service? But it's mandated they get every year. They have to go to both our academy and the Fox has a regular training academy. And scenarios are done with all sorts of things that we can come up with, and based on some of this conversation tonight, we can make up some more new ones. To it's good in the learning experience to do that.
I think your point is an important one, and one of the reasons why I really have said that we have to have additional training, and it has to be very tailored to community relations and take it, and not the same training that has gone on already, because obviously there's been a disconnect in terms of what's happened, and one of the things that I really, moving forward, that we'll push to make sure happens. This is a park. We live, work, and play in a park, but the entire 92 acres really has to be looked at that way, and that's what makes it so unique, and why the issue has to be looked at in a much more holistic way. And I think your point about it being a tipping point is one that's very important, and with any tipping point, we're going to have to create that delicate balance between what the quality of life issues are, the type of environment that everybody wants to live in, and how we're going to enforce the rules so that that quality is, and that balance is achieved. So whatever, we at the authority can do to help with that, that's why I want to continue this kind of a dialogue and have these quarterly sessions. I think it's vital information. I've only been here a few months, and it's important to hear all of this. I haven't lived here since 1987, 1989, and I'm here every day, but I don't have that same history, and I will not pretend to have that history, but I do want to hear about it and we'll continue to make a commitment to work closely with parks and anything else that we need to do to make this that livable community, so that you can go out and not feel that, you know, as a young woman, that you're gonna be harassed, or that you're out walking your dog and you ran out in your slippers and the dog's gotta go and you gotta, you know, it is what it is. And so there is a delicate balance, and these guys,
Ironically, Gail, I'm here now 27 years. And we have been discussing these same issues for 27 years.
Right.
I mean, ever since the I don't know when they first came, but ever since the pets have been with us, we've had the same exact complaints and the same exact problems, and people come and they,
But it does get better for a while.
I was just
So-
about to say that,
Yeah.
people come, and then it gets better for a while, and then apparently the observation or the enforcement gets a little more slack, and it starts all over again. So I think that there needs to be ongoing training and ongoing recognition of the fact that these people are human. I mean, if they're not watched, they're gonna not be doing the right thing. Not everybody knows what we would like to think they are, because frankly, I don't wanna sit here 27 years from now. No, but it's not funny.
I know.
We used to have monthly or bi-monthly meetings with Steve Harper, where the same issue was discussed.
right, but see, I guess, and what I want to do, and I can't speak for what came before, I mean, I can, and I think history is very, very critical and very important to inform the dialogue moving forward, but that's the idea of these quarterly meetings, because I don't wanna now have this conversation, and a year from now, we come back and revisit it. We need to
That's why I
continue
like
to
it.
have that
What we need to
conversation.
do to wrap this, and we should wrap it, is have all of these people back, not in a quarter and not in a private meeting, but in a community